Welcome back. Who is behind the latest mystery drone appearances in the skies over Paris? Police are searching for the drone operators, but so far they don't know who's responsible or if the drone flights were coordinated. At least 5 drones buzzed the US Embassy and landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower and Bastille, in the overnight hours on Tuesday. Last month, the drone was spotted over the presidential palace, and some 20 drones were seen above nuclear plants. And as the cost of owning and operating a drone continues to fall, they are being used in constantly expanding roles. Here are some of the examples. In Japan, drones are used to spray crops, flying low with greater accuracy than regular airplanes. They are also cheaper to operate. Australian television companies use drones to broadcast cricket matches. The use of drones is being explored for commercial photography. In the movie industry, the United Arab Emirates are hoping to use drones to deliver government documents. Oil companies use drones to check the undersides of oil platforms. And Amazon wants to use drones for home deliveries. And Facebook is also working on a plan to use drones to provide internet access to remote regions. Now let's talk more about drone safety. CNN aviation analyst Mary Schiavo joins us now via Skype from Charleston, South Carolina. And Mary, we know drones flew over at least 5 landmarks in Paris last night. In light of the recent terror attacks, how concerning is that, and what are drones capable of?
Well, it's very concerning, and it's truly amazing what drones are capable of. And by the way, you can add CNN to that list. They've applied to use them in news coverage. But drones are capable of so much more than people even realize, and I think that's why government and law enforcement's caught behind the 8 ball. They weren't prepared for this. They thought drones were kind of model airplanes, if you will, and used by hobbyists, when in fact they're used from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to find and rescue people in the wilderness to all sorts of, destructive forces for military uses. And because there isn't a good way to ascertain who is flying them unless you have registered and you're flying them and have an approval from your government agency, the governments are kind of less flat-footed in figuring out how to catch them, stop them, and police them. And there are drone catchers, by the way. There are drones with nets on them to try to catch the drones that shouldn't be up there. So it's a Wild West free-for-all up in those skies.
And Mary, we know the US Federal Aviation Administration says it's receiving complaints every month from pilots who've seen drones or model planes near their aircraft. So what sort of altitude can these drones fly, and what sort of obstacles are they creating for planes and pilots?
Well, that's a great question, because the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States just last week released proposed rules. They're so far late in getting them out. And in the new rules, once they're adopted, there's 60 days to comment, and they're going to be heavily lobbied against. But you will have to stay below 500 feet. And you'll have to pass a test to be able to fly a drone, which is a good thing because I've flown many and crashed many myself. And you don't have to be a pilot, but the rules will keep you at pretty low altitudes unless you have a special use permit.
And you've mentioned some of the legislation, but how much is the legislation lagging behind the advances of technology?
A decade. The technology was out there a decade ago. I think I bought my first drone in the Newark airport almost 10 years ago, and it was just a hobby drone. But, for example, the United States government gave permission for companies to sell drones, including for military applications overseas, long before they even put the rules in place by the Federal Aviation Administration. Congress told them to have these rules out 2 years ago. They put them out last week. So the United States is really playing catch-up. And as a result, a drone landed in the White House yard last month.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mary Schiavo. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.